Hey, everybody. We are live. Look at us back on Innovation Insights. This is our weekly look at a bunch of different topics around innovation that we choose and you have to deal with. But this week, there's no pain at all because Brene gets to lead the conversation, and we're looking at...
Oh, I'm leading?
Yeah, we're looking at Black fashion and creativity and innovations within. And we also want to highlight maybe some names that are not as well known in that world of fashion that should be known more. We should know more about. And Brene, if you don't know about Brene, she is an expert in fashion and design and has a very special place in which she comes from it, and it's a true and authentic place. And so I'm going to pass it over to Brene.
Wow.
Boom.
Excuse me, I didn't know I was leading.
Yeah,
well,
maybe we should switch seats.
I'm just kidding. Well, hey y'all. Happy New York Fashion Week.
Is there any other?
Yes, Milan.
That counts?
Yes, Paris.
That counts?
London.
Counts?
Oh, goodness, fashion. Okay, so what should we talk about first? Do we want to talk about... Fashion just excites me, you guys, because it's just so good. And the history behind fashion and form versus function and the fun of everything, like fashion is just...
But fashion isn't always fun. I mean, it certainly can be, right? But there's times in history when fashion was not fun.
Yeah, but what are you referring to specifically? You're talking about like when it was painful? First of all, it's never not been fun for guys in terms of pain.
What? We've never had pain? I'm
Well...
not saying we've had the same pain. This is all relative, this pain discussion. But
I mean, okay, so guys used to wear heels to show off their calf muscles. That's probably...
Which they're outstanding, by the way. These guys were really amazing calves.
But I think, I mean, even just to start the discussion there, like fashion being used as kind of an aphrodisiac to say, hey, I'm wearing these heels to show off my calf muscles because if I have great calves, that means I can control my horse really well, which means I'm very masculine, which is just hilarious to me. So you're literally trying to get a woman's attention by showing, flexing your calves.
Yeah,
that's fashion. But I think, for today's discussion, there are so many fun facts about fashion, and fashion is one of those things for me that I feel like just gives me life. Like it
Nice.
is extremely inspiring. Good morning. It's extremely inspiring, and it gets my creative juices kind of flowing. And there's a designer out right now. If you guys are not following Nicole Linnell, you absolutely should be. She's taking the world by storm. But I don't remember how I stumbled upon her, but over the last few years, just to see her company like grow exponentially, because she's just a creative powerhouse. I would think of her as like the Beyonce of the fashion industry.
Whoa.
Her designs are phenomenal, but also just the way in which she tells the story through fashion, the creative over the top kind of her style is just Nicole Linnell. So she's becoming a household name. She just launched in December a collection she's like one of the first up and coming Black designers to have a capsule collection in Nordstrom nationally. So that's just amazing. But when I first...
Can you let the uninformed like me know exactly what a capsule collection is?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So a capsule collection would be considered maybe like a one and done. Like we're making 10 of these or 100,000 of these, however small it's going
Yeah,
to be. The larger the store that it's in, probably the more you're
the
going to
larger
have.
the run.
Right. So it's going to be, if it's in Targets, right, then you're going to have a larger, but it would still be, there's maybe 5, maybe 10, max probably 12 pieces
Got it.
in that capsule collection that won't be recreated again. So yes, she had an amazing holiday collection that just launched in December. She posted something a couple days ago that like some of the dresses are almost completely sold out. One is this amazing $2,500 like beaded deliciousness. That, I mean, just phenomenal. But she's actually not who I wanted to focus on today.
Why are we talking about her then?
But
My
because she's
goodness.
just so amazing. Oh, this is why I wanted to talk about her.
I'm kidding.
Because
That was a joke, inside joke. Renee's been talking about her nonstop for the last 6 months, at least.
I mean, honestly, she's the Beyonce of fashion. I stumbled upon her and she had done a fashion show in a house, like let's say in the Hollywood Hills. And each room in the house was a different theme. And the themes were mind blowing. I mean, just over the top. Like one whole room was just disco balls everywhere on the floor, hanging, like going to the bathroom and it's fake bubbles and stuff. One room was all money, one room was all flowers. I mean, just visual installations that just get your creativity flowing and just bring you to life. That's exactly how I interpreted it.
Nice. That's a
So that was a few years ago, actually, the year that I launched Maison d'Antoinette. And seeing her show really inspired my own show, which would happen that next October. And it just helped me tap into just a creative space. So,
yeah, that's awesome.
There's so much innovation in fashion, and not just in the way that the clothes are designed, but the way that they're made, you know, creating technology for fashion, using technology for fashion, putting technology in fashion, in the way that you buy fashion. A lot of people say like retail is dying, but really it's just evolving and changing. And fashion is a multi-billion-dollar industry here in the United States. It's almost $600 billion we spend on clothes, shoes, and accessories each year. And then worldwide, it's in the trillions. I mean,
not inconsequential is what Brene is saying.
And fashion is the largest employer of in California. Los Angeles is the largest employer of fashion designers and manufacturers in the world. So yes, not inconsequential, and people think that it's just all fluff, but there's so much psychology behind fashion, and I don't know if we're going to have time to get into it. But since it is also Black History Month, I one of the couples that I feel a lot of people don't know about is John and Eunice Johnson, who are the founders of Ebony Magazine, and they started the Johnson Publishing Company. And for, to take it way, way, way back, fashion magazines started as fashion journals that would really kind of articulate for the social classes who's wearing what time of day, what kind of fabric, it was really kind of a directive, and evolved into the fashion magazines that we see now that have fun articles and still very some of the same elements of a fashion journal, telling us, hey, here's 5 things to wear on a date night, or it's told in a different kind of way. But Ebony Magazine was one of the first to highlight Black designers, Black models, when that wasn't something that was really widely accepted, to say, we're going to have a runway show and there's nobody that looks like me in the runway show, or that we're going to have a magazine and there's nobody that looks like me in the magazine. So it started as what was referred to as the Negro Digest and evolved into Ebony Magazine. And then from there also evolved into these fashion fair fashion shows and people who
Fair
bought tickets.
as in equal, or fair as in carnival?
Yes.
I like the idea of fashion fair.
Yeah, let's bring it back.
Yeah, remix.
But each person who bought a ticket to the fashion fair show got a free subscription, and the money that was raised went back to Black-owned hospitals and schools, and by way of scholarships and things like that. And so one of the things that I didn't actually know is Eunice Johnson is like one of the top curators of couture clothing. She had at the time of her death, over 8,000 different garments that were couture that she collected.
Wow.
And, I always say, like, the rich people are some of the most cheap people you'll ever meet because they get so much stuff donated to them. But what was happening with fashion fair, the fashion shows, was designers did not want to donate clothes. So Eunice would have to go and buy, Yves Saint Laurent, Givenchy, things like that she could still have these editorial images of these high-end designers that weren't donating, because it's all beautiful when we see the Emmys and whatever else, but these people get donated. I used to work for a company that donated jewelry to them for the day. So it's, anyway, they get the stuff for free. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And so you see, like, I was thinking of last night, knowing that we were going to talk about this topic, thinking about how the saying, necessity is the mother of all invention, right? And how even in fashion, like, Black people have had to innovate. They've had to do things differently out of it not being fair, out of it not being equal. And so, yeah, Eunice would spend anywhere from $1 million to $1.5 million each fashion show.
Wow.
To be able to, acquire these garments. And that's why she's one of the US top, like, curators of couture clothing. So, yeah.
And is that collection still available for people?
You know what?
To
I
see
didn't
digitally or otherwise.
I did not look. I'm sure there probably is a way, some kind of way. I know that her collection was on display during a tour. I don't know where it is right now, but that was a few years after her death. It was on tour. I don't know where it is today in 2022, but.
And when was her death ish?
2010.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I just, it sucks the need to have to create something to be seen as equal, and then to have to work that much harder, to have to pay when other shows aren't having to pay, and things like that. But it's also very inspiring that people don't let that stop them from fulfilling their dream, or from making that dream a reality for, Black models and things who weren't getting an opportunity, Black designers who may not have been welcomed into Fashion Week, but they could be a part of, Fashion Fair. So.
And would it exist around the same time as New York Fashion Week, or would it be a separate?
I don't know when it was, but I know that after, I think it's different in that it traveled, I want to say 38 states
Okay.
around the United States. And so it was a lot more,
Accessible.
yes, as opposed to, Fashion Week now, where the survival of the fittest,
Yeah, good luck.
it's like I've been trying to get into Fashion Week well, let me say that. I've desired. I haven't really tried. But yes. Do you
So I think one thing to talk about real quick is as I go ahead and should have turned notifications off. I think two things. One, you and your particular emphasis in fashion, right, is to let your true self be seen to the world through the clothes that you wear. So I think that's important. That's my interpretation. And then the other thing is I just wanted to share that I just saw yesterday UPS for Fashion Week this week is releasing a product line of lifestyle clothes inspired by UPS, designed by Black designers around the country. So check that out. If that There's some pretty cool looking pieces from what I saw. There was hats and knits and all sort of t-shirts and jackets and a whole collection. So that I'm not. I need to learn more about it because I don't totally understand the full connection of that collab, or those collabs. But I think it's. I think we need a lot more companies like UPS that are putting resources behind providing opportunities on a larger stage for designers that we may not know of. So, especially in the Black community. So I think that alone should be commended. So back to you.
No, I think it's very cool because something that's still trending in fashion right now is athleisure. So that's that kind of crossover between I could be going to yoga or just to the grocery store. And like cute enough
or running my hedge fund.
Right. It's cute enough to wear out, but also functional enough to actually exercise in. But yeah, to the topic of what I refer to as psychological fashion is understanding as a stylist that my responsibility is not to make you look like a Kardashian. It's to make you look like who you are on the inside. And I think that fashion is one of those great ways that you can tap into understanding your authentic self and express it on a daily basis. And it doesn't always have to look the same because we're always evolving. So, one of the first things that I do with style or brand clients is make them make me a list of as many words as they can, at least 10 words that describe their personality or their day-to-day functions. And we evolve that into their shopping list. Because if you're someone that says you're fun loving and outgoing and all of your clothing is, black and gray sweats, something's incongruent there.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah, I love the psychological aspects of fashion. Sometimes we dress to hide things. Sometimes we dress in, as a trauma response. Sometimes we dress based on our emotions, and, people get stuck in the glory days. And so they're still dressing like the 70s or 80s. And we just got to get to the psychological root of, who they truly are and evolve their fashion from that.
So that brings up a question. We have a couple more minutes, but a lot of my novice understanding of fashion is influenced by magazines, popular culture, movies, all that. So the like tug of war that happens between expressing who you are versus feeling pressured to conform to a certain style or something Any tricks up your sleeve on that?
Yeah, several. Probably we don't have time to get into all of them, but I would say I will take a case study.
Okay.
One of my favorite male clients came and said, I just want to dress different. I want all my friends have Jordans, they've got this, they've got that. And I just feel like I don't fit in, like I'm not one of the guys. But I am, but I'm not looking like it. And it took us an hour and a half.
That doesn't seem like that long.
No, I don't think so either. But what we had to get
Magic.
to the root of it was he's a business owner, he's a father, he's a creative, he's all of these different things, and his friends are not. And so when I spend time with my clients, it's yes, I can show you how to update your wardrobe to add maybe a hat or a t-shirt with the blazer. But what I really am trying to get you to understand is who you truly are. And then insert those trendy pieces as you see fit to your actual personality, because we're never going to feel our best if we're not looking our best. So if you're like constantly, okay, this is, you can't even be present in the moment to let your authenticity truly shine through because you're worried about, how you're looking. So I would say do the self-work, because the self-work will reveal to you, you're not called to stand out. You're not called to conform. You're called to stand out. You're different. And if you're different, just lean into that.
Awesome.
So
that sounds like great advice, not only for fashion, but for innovation as well. So, you have to be able to rely on best practices and examples and benchmarks from around the world, and then also have the ability to reinterpret those things. Adaptive reuse is, I think, an underrepresented value of innovation, is taking inspiration from around the world around you and reinterpreting it for something that people will care about or get value from.
And with that, let me just also say about fashion, adaptive reuse, understanding the difference between something that's trendy and something that's seasonal. Something like leopard print or polka dots or houndstooth, those are seasonal things because they come back every single year. They're not trendy, they're seasonal. Anyway, go ahead.
I have nothing else to say. And with that, we'll see you next week. Thanks, everybody.
Bye. Tippity tip top on the morning. Good morning.